The 5 Love Languages, The Secret to Love That Lasts. This is a best-selling book by Gary Chapman. And I remember the first time I heard about this book, it was around 10 years ago. I saw it on my best friend's bedside table, and she said she was reading it because her and her partner were having issues and struggles with communication. And I didn't really think much of it. I'm pretty sure at the time I was single, so I was like, I don't need that. But the book popped up again and again over the years, and I started seeing it all over the place, yet I never felt that pull to read it still. And it wasn't until 2018 when I was traveling around Nepal and I read it for the first time. It rocked my world. I was traveling with my partner, and like most backpacking adventures done in a relationship with your partner, new struggles seem to appear that you hadn't really experienced before. And I read the book in a few days. It's nice and small, and it has a quiz at the back where you get to find out what your primary love languages are. So in this book, there are 5 different ways that we express love and that we receive love. They are words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. We can probably all relate to most of these love languages. I know I enjoy a little bit of all of them here and there, and I also know that sometimes what I need and what I desire, it changes. But each of us has 1 or 2 maybe that speaks to us the most. Discovering what you and your partner's primary love language or languages are, and speaking that language regularly, can help in understanding each other's needs and aids in supporting each other's growth. So the 5 love languages is a concept developed by Gary Chapman from his years of experience in marriage counseling and linguistics. And the truth is that not everyone communicates love in the same way. And on the flip side, people have different ways that they would prefer to receive love. So before I get into sharing about the 5 love languages, I want to say that this concept is fantastic, and it's helped many relationships, mine included. And it isn't just for romantic relationships, but it also works with platonic, your best friends, your family, your work colleagues. Once you know what their primary love languages are, it is so much easier to get along, whether it's platonic or romantic. You may or may not resonate with this, and that's okay. It wasn't created to be the solution to every problem in a relationship, but to help people live with a little more understanding. So take this all with a grain of salt. Be open-minded to these concepts, use them in the ways that will work for you and your relationships, but don't forget, there needs to be an understanding that in all human relationships, there is complications. There is complicated reflections of our childhood wounds and attachment styles that still live with us today, that maybe not everything has been solved yet or healed. And these concepts, they may or may not work for you in that way. Bottom line is that love languages are a useful tool to improve how we communicate and express ourselves to each other. But they shouldn't be the be-all and end-all solution for happiness, right? So instead, it can serve as a starting point that sets couples on a journey to meet each other in a more profound way and self-regulate better. But the work shouldn't stop there. It's another great tool on that ever-growing tool belt of ours. So let's break down each love language, and remember here that these can be used if you are single and with your closest friends and family. So number 1 is words of affirmation. These are your verbal expressions of support, affection, praise, and care. So some examples are, thanks for putting the kids to bed. Dinner was delicious, thank you so much for cooking for me. You are doing so well at your project, I am so proud of you. So usually the more specific and deep the affirmations, the more meaningful they feel to the one receiving them. And something important to note here is that on the other side of affirmations is that insults can be taken especially hard from people whose main love language is words of affirmation. Second, we have quality time. So spending time with your loved one is a major part of any relationship. But for people whose top love language is quality time, they will feel the benefits of this so much more intensely. They will need and crave the times when both parties are present without distraction, especially doing something that you both enjoy. So whatever this means to you, camping, hiking, watching movies and sharing a popcorn, talking about a favorite topic, going to the beach for a walk or out to dinner, and so on and so on. The main component of this is that it actually is quality time, so no distractions. Put your phones away to the side, both be present, engaged, and active in what is happening. If you are with someone who is distracted or is a distant partner that makes you feel unheard and unseen, and your primary love language is quality time, it's going to be a very big struggle, and you may never fully feel satisfied in this relationship. Thirdly, we have receiving gifts. So this one might seem pretty self-explanatory, but it's receiving both tangible and intangible items that make you feel noticed and appreciated. So receiving flowers and chocolates is as much as a gift as watching your partner play their grand final in sports, right? It can be flowers just because, or the book that you've been talking about but haven't bought yet. Or it could be something like they pay for your membership to the Feminine Rising, right? So to the people whose primary love language is receiving gifts, the lack of small everyday gestures or a forgotten special occasion can be extremely hurtful. Fourth, we have acts of service. So this is doing something you know is helpful and kind to your partner and for your partner. So for the mums out there, this may mean that your partner does the dishes and after dinner, and then also puts the kids to bed that night so you can relax. It may mean your partner brings you breakfast in bed, or notices that you're running late one day and offers to make you lunch or get your coffee together. So for these people, indecisiveness and lack of support from your partner is more damaging than anything else. Fifth and final is physical touch. So physical expressions of love, both sexual and platonic, holding hands, massages, they gently touch you softly as they walk past, right? That little hand on the nape of your neck or the arch of your back, a kiss on the forehead just because. And of course, hugs, kisses, and of course, sex. So if your primary love language is physical touch and it is absent from your relationship, you will be left feeling isolated and lonely. All right, that's the five. That's the five big ones, the 5 love languages. What we do instinctively and unconsciously is we express our love to our partners in the way that we want it to be expressed to us. But this is only going to work if your partner actually has the same love language as you. So that's why knowing what each love language is in your relationship is going to be hugely beneficial. So it obviously won't be working if you have different love languages, and is going to cause misunderstandings and frustrations and tensions. If your love language is quality time and you're scheduling in a special time each week or each fortnight for you both to hang out, and your partner's always late, or they're not present when you're together, or they forget about the date, you're just going to feel like crap. Maybe their love language is acts of service and they also feel like crap because you haven't been expressing in this way towards them for ages, but they've been doing acts of service for you. So you can see how the cycle can perpetuate here, and neither party will be feeling fulfilled or satisfied. So you both feel like you're showing each other love and care, but it isn't being received because it's not actually your love language. First thing to do is to find out what your primary love language or languages are, and sit with it. So, like, even think to yourself before you take the quiz, how do you like to give love and how do you like to receive love? And then find out what your partner's thoughts are on this. And this is an activity that you can both do together. I feel quite lucky. When my partner and I did this quiz, we both have the same top 2 love languages. So we really don't have to be too conscious or try too hard to give each other what we need, or you know, how to receive love. We are both physical touch and quality time, so that's just the way that we work. And so it is very lucky there. If you have different love languages, it's going to be a process of open communication and willingness to be part of this together. It will take practice not to give love in the way that you want to receive it, but to do it in the way that you know is how your partner wants to receive it, and vice versa. So patience, kindness, and time, you will get used to doing this. And I don't want to just throw this out there to make it seem even harder for you, but you are allowed to change your mind here as well. Things can change. Maybe 5 years ago when you got married, your love language was physical touch, but now you're finding that it's feeling a little bit too much and it's a bit smothering. So possibly if you sat down again with your partner in the quiz and you ask the questions again, you'll realize that maybe now your primary love language is acts of service. And then again, you need to have these open and honest communications with your love. Or as you know, I said earlier, it doesn't have to be your love. It can be your best friend. It can be your boss, someone that you live with, your housemate, your family, whatever it is. The conversation needs to be there. It needs to be had so that you can again feel like your love tank is being filled, and your partner might even find that their primary love language has changed too. Try not to rely on these languages as the fix-it to all of your relationship struggles, or to be the entire guide to a perfect relationship, okay? In doing that, it could potentially become a bit transactional. Like, I did this, so you owe me that. These aren't conditional things that we are learning to do and learning to give just to get something back. They are the things that we do out of love, and because we want our partners to feel seen and worthy, just like we want to feel seen and worthy. So when it becomes a bit more like an exchange, it really does shift that focus away from what we should be having at the core of our relationship, which is presence and connection. And instead of being focused on speaking your partner's love language and having them speak yours, think of the love languages as that place that you tend to in your relationship with a sense of generosity and compassion. Awesome. All right, I have shared a link in the members portal under this video for the quiz if you want to take the quiz. And I've also linked there to the book if you are wanting to buy the book. Maybe you have read this one, or maybe after you read this one, you feel drawn to one of the others that have been written based on your current situation. So since this first 5 love languages book was written, which was like 30 or more years ago, it was a huge success. And now there has been released more nuanced books. So there is the 5 love languages of children, the 5 love languages singles edition, the 5 love languages for men, 5 love languages of teenagers, 5 love languages military edition. So with whatever you choose, go into it with an open mind and not looking for it to be the solution, okay? Here in the Feminine Rising, we are always on an adventure. We are always exploring and training ourselves not to get too attached to the outcome. I hope you have fun with this little experiment, and I'd love for you to share in the Facebook group what your primary love languages are.